What is up, everyone, and welcome to another issue of Sibling Rival-Read, the comic book club podcast slash YouTube show hosted by yours truly. It's Ben Pie and my wonderful sister. I did,
Dashkin.
yeah, okay. For some reason, Discord cut your audio out, so I don't think they heard you actually say your name, just heard Dashkin.
Oh. Anakin!
There we go.
It's
There
funny.
she is. You know, maybe at some point I'll have you start recording your own video on your end rather than record everything on my end. And then it might look even better and sound even better since we won't have to worry about Discord cutting out audio because that happens sometimes when we do this show. Anyways, eh. Anyways, this week we're starting back at the top. We're back with Marvel. Um, we We're in a new round of books where hopefully we won't tie, which, by the way, help settle that tie. Go to itsbenpie.com/poll and vote for the last round of books that you thought were the best. I think last time I looked, I want to say A Silent Voice was the only one that had a vote.
Okay. I'll post it on our Instagram page too later.
Yeah, which we have an Instagram now. Which, just so everyone knows, you can follow Sibling Rival-Read on Instagram at Sibling Rival-Read.
No spaces.
No spaces. What else are there none of?
No underscores, because somebody hates underscores. I don't
Because
know
there's
why.
no point to
They're
it.
classy.
Yeah, when you're trying to
Spaces.
tell people to go follow you, that's an extra thing that you have to tell them to remember. Where it's like you could just say follow me at Anna Riddick. No, you have to say follow me at Anna_Riddick.
But I picked all of these things based on like other people using it, name-wise.
Whatever. Anyways, this book, the book this week, was my choice. I chose Planet Hulk by Greg Pak. There were multiple artists depending on which part of the book we were in. So for I've got the page up here, but yeah, lots of artists. Banner War was Aaron Lopresti. Anarchy was Aaron Lopresti. Allegiance was Carlo Pagulian. And Aaron Lopresti with Gary Frank. That's like the only Gary Frank. That's a name that I can say with confidence. And then the Armageddon portion was Carlo Pagulian. Yeah.
Now that
Anyways,
Ben has slaughtered all the names, why did you pick it?
I picked this one because this was, for one, I wanted to read a Hulk book. I've been like Hulk to me is an incredibly interesting hero and a character in general. And Planet Hulk is was essentially what Thor Ragnarok was loosely based on. So when it came down to Thor Ragnarok and the Hulk being in it, it was people recognized it immediately as the like they recognized it as, oh, this is the Planet Hulk story. Which after reading the book, it takes place on Sakaar.
And he has gladiator armor.
And he's got gladiator
None.
armor. Boom. Easy peasy. We'll talk about some of the differences kind of as we talk more about the book. But essentially, the lead up to this, and I'm just going to read the previously on here thing. Bruce Banner has long feared the potential of his alter ego, the Incredible Hulk, to become Earth's most dangerous monster. So, when he saw the chance to put the Hulk's strength to positive use, Banner accepted a mission from S.H.I.E.L.D. to save the world by destroying an artificially intelligent satellite gone rogue. But when the mission was complete, the Hulk learned that a group of Marvel heroes, including Reed Richards, Iron Man, Doctor Strange, and Black Bolt, had created a plan to extricate him from the Earth, sending him to an idyllic, uninhabited planet where Reed promised there will be no one there to hurt you and no one you can hurt. Yeah, that quickly turned into Hulk getting mad, as you know the Hulk does. Kind of throws himself off course. Goes through a giant wormhole, or in Thor Ragnarok, the Sky Anus. I mean, that's what they called it in Thor Ragnarok, right?
Okay.
Where he lands on Sakaar, which it kind of ended up being similar to how Thor ended up on Sakaar, and like seeing that he lands in a in the middle of like this scrap yard where people are scrapping scraps.
Weird bugmen.
Weird bugmen. And essentially Hulk gets captured and forced to become kind of like a fighting slave, gladiator style. And
Fight for his freedom.
Yeah, exactly. And the Emperor of Sakaar here, very not Jeff Goldblum. Like,
no. He was not funny at all.
As hilarious as Jeff Goldblum's character was in Thor Ragnarok, that was not what the Red King was in this. Not even a tiny bit. Not even a tiny bit.
I don't think he had a single humorous line.
No,
one-liners.
He was just a jerk. You know how like sometimes you find that you can sympathize with a villain and like you really understand their motivation. This was one of those few villains where I'm like, this guy is awful. This is just a terrible, terrible, I was about to say human being, but alien being.
Puny Pinky.
Puny Pinky. And one of the things going into the Hulk comic is I was not expecting the Hulk to be so articulate.
So I don't know if I was expecting it. I was hoping for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
like
knew that Hulk becomes more articulate in later comics, just based on like his appearances in cartoon shows growing up.
Yeah, and it would be really hard to read this whole comic book if he was just saying Hulk angry, Hulk no like stupid bugs.
Yeah.
It would be it would be significantly more painful to try to read through. So I definitely appreciate the fact that it was he was as articulate as he was.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, Anna, have you read a lot of Hulk comics?
None.
Okay, so
because I mean, looking at him as a hero, the conflict between Hulk and Banner didn't appeal to me all that much.
See, I love that like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of dynamic, and like
yeah, but Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde are both extremely intellectual scientists at the heart of it, so there's a lot more to go off of.
Mr. Hyde
brute
isn't
strength.
super intellectual.
He was in the book.
Was he?
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've read that book.
I had to do the musical in college.
I love the music for that musical, by the way.
Yeah. I would love to see a professional like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde done with one actor versus two actors, which a lot of like smaller theaters switch it out for, just because the vocal range is intense.
Side note: if you check out the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde like soundtrack for the musical, don't do the David Hasselhoff one.
David Hasselhoff was in it?
Yeah, like that's the first one that you'll if you try to find Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde
It's on
like soundtrack.
Spotify, or it
Yeah.
was on Spotify, and it
Um
was not.
yeah, well you just be careful because the David Hasselhoff one, not great. But I forget who. It doesn't matter. We're talking about the Hulk. But also just like that kind of. I love that. I love the dynamic between Bruce Banner and the Hulk. I like, especially how it gets portrayed in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like how it's like theorized that maybe the Hulk saved you from dying in that explosion.
Mhm.
All of those things where it's kind of like I I dig that. I like that as a I don't know. I like the dynamic between the two of them. And the only other Hulk comic I've read, I want to say it was the Invincible Hulk, like the beginning of the Invincible Hulk, or it was the beginning of the Immortal Hulk, where uh, the Hulk is able to separate himself from Bruce Banner, and Bruce Banner becomes like mad scientist, crazy guy, trying to get the Hulk back, and the Hulk is just trying to live a peaceful life in the middle of nowhere. And
That's cool.
it was a really cool story, and it was intriguing, and it was one of those like I started reading it because it had just started at the time that I was interested in reading some Hulk comics.
Mhm.
And after that I was like, oh, I would love to read some Hulk comics, but know where to start. So I'm kind of happy that this is one of the stories that I picked up on. Um, because it was interesting to kind of see the Hulk um, as a character on his own, and not really a lot of Banner in this, except for a few brief moments here and there.
It was really
Um,
just in one issue that you saw anything of Banner.
Two issues. So the issue where they're hiding at the steps, and he turns back into Banner with uh
And he's dreaming.
yeah,
Meek? I kept calling
Meek.
him Meek.
Yeah, Meek. Meek is correct. Um, so there was that, and then when he was letting the spikes
I
feed
don't
off of
really
him.
count that because that's literally like a cameo appearance. He had 0 effect on anything truly with the storyline. Oh, you're talking about when they got married.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Hmm.
Well, you started out when he let them feed on him, and that was literally just a, "Look,
Yeah,
he's human because
but
they
then
sucked out all
like
the gamma."
yeah, but I still thought that was kind of I still thought that was cool. And it was interesting to me, especially towards the end, kind of seeing that that level of almost acceptance from Banner as to
Mhm.
like, yeah, this is the other side of me, like Hulk letting Banner come out, but Banner still giving Hulk the reins back with no issue. I mean, that could just be heat of the moment kind of thing as well, but
Like, we then also the other time that you saw Banner in here, he only lasted in his own body for, like,
a
a
fraction of
blink
a
of an
second.
eye,
Hmm.
and I wouldn't necessarily say that he was giving up the reins of his own body, more so he just can't fight
Hmm.
the
Yeah.
transformation.
Um, but yeah, I thought I thought it was a fun look at the Hulk. I would have liked a little more Hulk Banner.
Mhm.
And who knows, maybe with like the next part of this story is World War Hulk. Um, so I'm interested to see if maybe Banner plays more of a role in that than he
As,
did
like, a
in this.
mediator between
Yeah.
him and the Avengers.
Hmm. Because Hulk is mad. Hulk is mad. So tell me, what were some of your initial thoughts of this book?
I enjoyed it for being a Hulk comic.
Mm-hmm.
I think I approached his character with like a grain of salt, knowing the qualities of the character being extremely blunt and almost childlike.
Uh-huh. Immature. I don't know that I'd say
I don't even
childlike,
know
but
if I would say
immature.
immature because I'm not saying from a lack of understanding or greed or any of those things. Childlike in terms of mood swings, and well, I guess that is immaturity. I don't know. But a lot of layers in a childlike manner or an immature manner.
Yeah.
So I mean, I didn't really see a huge character development moment for his character specifically until way, way later. Whereas all of the characters around him changed drastically, and I was very interested in how they developed.
Yeah, I could see that.
Uh, yeah.
I think with like there definitely was character growth for the Hulk towards like the last quarter of Planet
Mhm.
Hulk. Which was really awesome to see. I do agree, like his growth took a lot longer, but at the same time, we're starting at issue 92 of the Incredible Hulk, of this run of Hulk.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of time that's already been invested in his character that I don't know that I would want to see quick growth like from the beginning of this, which is I think issue 92 to 93. Like
Oh,
I'm
no. But I mean, we didn't get any of those internal struggle moments between his even just his flashbacks on the video recording
uh-huh
of the few members of the Avengers telling him why they are
why they're
essentially
doing what they're
like
doing.
pushing him out
Hmm.
until towards the end of the book. We didn't see until more than halfway through the book, I think, was when you actually saw him struggle with
Hmm.
Banner. Only for an issue, and it was more of an idyllic dream
Uh-huh.
setting more than actual character development. It was more just a flashback for character foundation.
Uh-huh. Yeah, just to
Yeah, so
remind people that Hulk is there.
yeah.
Trying to find where that scene took place.
I mean, that's in the dream, yeah.
Wow. I did it. Um
But I mean, what page is that?
this is 106. So about a
Okay, so
quarter of the way in. A little more because the last like 50 pages were a different comic book.
yeah.
Um
So
I did like this scene though, in the sense of I want to know more about this Jarella character and like how all of like what exactly happened here.
I mean, I'm not gonna say that didn't interest me, but I was much more interested in the point of the opposing points of view on like Bruce seeing the Hulk as the monster and Hulk seeing Banner as the monster
Mm-hmm.
in
That
his
was
nightmares. So I would
yeah,
have liked that psychological development
to play out a little
be
more.
explored a little bit, yeah,
I dig it.
more, which I mean it could later, especially depending on how World War Hulk or whatever it goes
Mm-hmm.
down. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Um, yeah,
Poor
and
Spider-Man.
yeah, I know.
He got cut in half, man. I didn't care
Uh-huh.
2 bananas about Iron Man, but poor Spider-Man
Yep.
in the dream sequence.
Right. It's like, oh man. Um, I did another thing that and not that it bothers me, because like the MCU definitely has a lot more comedy and all of that in it. But the whole what is it, Korg and Meek versus the Korg and Meek that are in Thor Ragnarok.
Because I loved Korg in this, and Korg is stupid in the movie. Like, he's funny, but
Yeah,
this one I really
he's
enjoyed his character. And
uh-huh.
then Meek was an extremely interesting
There was a lot of depth to
to that
Meek's
character.
character, and like
Yeah.
I mean, he definitely had a very one-track mind of get revenge, but it's like
But it was
it
interesting
was a
also to make
roller
the
coaster of
lessons
a
that he
ride for
took
him.
from Hulk
Hmm.
as a character. Because
Yes.
I felt like that was very much everything that you saw Meek kinda stick to from the philosophy that him being around Hulk was
Hmm.
how I went into this, knowing the Hulk character.
Yeah.
So that made it a really interesting follow through.
I just noticed. I don't know how well you can see it, Anna, but Doctor Strange's face underneath Thor's the Hulk's foot. He's just like,
No, did not see.
oh
I
god.
mean, I can't really, yeah.
It's
I
it's
should
it's
actually
it's it's worth
probably it.
taking a peek. It's page 104, 105, 104, 105, for people who are listening to the podcast version and really can't see anything. But some of the faces that the Avengers are making, come on.
We'll also say I'm interested in Korg interacting with Thing.
Yeah, with Ben Grimm.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how it plays out in World War Hulk, um, because fundamentally, this group of people that he's fighting with, his what is it, Warforged, war whatever,
Oh, war bonded?
yeah, um, I feel like they are fundamentally good.
Yeah, I mean, they encompass different what is the D&D thing? Like chaotic good and all of that stuff?
Yeah,
They all encompass something different, I feel, or
yeah.
have multiple different forms of good.
Mhm. Their alignment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Um, and I have to say, I loved the cover art of these books. Um,
But but I'm always so upset when the cover art doesn't match the internal art. Not that the internal art wasn't great, it's
right.
just I really liked the warm and pencil
Well,
tones.
it looked very like it fit the gladiatorial theme so
Mhm.
well. Where it was like, oh man, this is just epic looking. Um, yeah, let's talk about the art. Um, it is one of those things you could definitely tell when the artist changed from book to book.
Mhm.
But it wasn't, in my opinion, it
It
wasn't
wasn't
so
jarring.
jarring. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, I froze.
and the character designs so cool. I mean, we've seen the Brood before, and or at least I've
But I
seen,
love it when we get to see them in Marvel Comics.
yeah. Um, but
None
like,
can beat the Brood in X-Men, but that's fine because he talks
yeah,
and he's cute and a little brainiac.
yeah. But Korg looked really neat. Um, and so did the well, I did not know how to say her name, Kaora. The this this girl, the silver lady with the strong skin.
The yeah. I just kept saying Sarah.
What?
I knew that I was butchering the name, but I was just like, fuck it. I can either focus on reading this name like 40 million times
Yep.
super slow, or I
The,
can just be like, I have a little sister named Sarah. Done.
yep.
Same letter. Sounds, whatever.
Uh-huh. Um, and I thought her like character development was also pretty damn interesting. Um, Especially once you kind of learned her backstory and then kind of see her slowly just be like, "Oh my God, the Red King is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
He is bonkers. This is bad."
Which from the beginning, though, when I saw her, I didn't think she was gonna stay
No,
the
I
villain.
didn't. I didn't either. Um, no, there was too much that she was trying to do, kind of outside of the Red King.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but
Nick's character design development was also cool to me.
yeah, when he went from just like meek to the like
Warrior to like the king or
uh-huh.
father or beetle-esque thing with wings.
Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Um,
And seeing him
Here we go.
fly. That was cool.
Yeah. Like that just that looks sick. Um and again, Meek's story, it was just so sad. Like he goes from thinking, he's alone, to finding out that his people are everywhere, just being kept as slaves, to finding out that, oh, one of the queens are alive, to
Losing the queen.
losing the queen.
And thereby losing his entire race's future.
Yep. It was so heartbreaking. So sad.
I mean,
Um,
honestly, the entire ending of this comic arc was incredibly heartbreaking and sad.
yes.
No matter how you felt about what characters, it was so sad.
Yeah. Um, and I want to go to what was my favorite panel. Um, because is it this one? Yeah. Um,
Oh, with the baby.
not again, one of my favorite things in comics is how well you can you can show, like, there's no dialogue on any of these panels, but you know what every single one of these characters is thinking. And then, like, I'm super extra emotional right now because I have a baby. Um, but like seeing this scene and seeing like this interaction between um the old strong and just like the people of Sakar, where she's like, I don't want bad things to happen to these people.
Mhm.
And going to this and watching her walk out of the fire and the smoke, it was a powerful scene and a really good depiction of a pivotal moment in character growth. Um there were quite a few scenes that were really well done, like this.
Mhm.
But I think the fact that I've got a 1 month old at home, this kind of struck me. I was bawling at this point while I was reading.
I was so hopeful when you saw her come out with the silhouette of the baby, and then you just find out it's a
Uh,
pile of ashes, and you're just yeah.
yep. And then the Hulk reaching his hand out, like, just awesome. And again, like this panel in the top right, where it's like it's showing how massive this explosion is by coming off of the panel and everything. It was in my opinion just so incredibly well done. And that was where my favorite panel kind of happened. And I liked the relationship between her and Hulk.
Me too, throughout.
Mm-hmm.
Because you could tell that she had respect for him throughout the entire...
From the very beginning, yeah.
Yeah.
And...
So,
yeah.
wait. Okay. I was trying to read the page numbers.
What did you mark down what your favorite was?
I did. So I have a favorite like full art page, and then I have a favorite single panel, which are different.
Okay. Give me the page numbers, and I'll go to whichever one's closest first.
326 and 257.
Okay. 257 is here.
So my favorite single panel is at the bottom of the page where you see Hulk screaming.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of pain and anger all in the same moment and desperation. And I thought that the heavy shadowing and just you still get how large scale of a character he is and the fire coming off of him. I thought it was a really beautifully well done moment.
Mm-hmm.
And the lighting in it and all of that stuff for
Very
the internal
dramatic.
lava core was awesome. And then my favorite all-time like page was the 326.
326. Yeah.
So, which is right after he loses everybody.
And again, like something I'm starting to notice about your favorite panels, Anna, you're also starting to pick some really emotional scenes. Scenes that do have
pick, though, emotional
I know,
scenes.
but that's why I said you're kind of starting to kind of take them into account though. Because like look at the body language here. Like it's not just in the face, it's in the arch of the arc of the back, and like this is
I will say
a broken and defeated Hulk.
Yeah. And I mean, some of my favorite panels have been emotionally strong in the past. I never discount emotion. It's just not my driving force for picking them. You have to consider the comic. And I mean, with this comic, I had a really hard time resonating with any of the art style moments and with the characters. And so with the main character in particular. And so when you do finally see the breakdown of that character happening, that was when you got to really showcase incredibly unique art for this comic.
Yeah.
Because he was not an emotional character other than anger for a good majority of the book.
Yeah. This is true.
The only way then to get the different style panels that I enjoy seeing as like a contrast was in those moments. I did also though thoroughly enjoy the backstory moments, especially with the Brood backstory.
Mm-hmm.
Like with the slimy art texture.
How they did like different art styles for everyone's backstory.
Yeah. It was funny with Korg having Thor in his.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
I thought it was too. I also really enjoyed the
Grey Hulk.
No. I mean the fact that they showcased Grey Hulk, because that's the color that he originally was. Gosh, where was this?
It was towards the beginning. It was like right after they left, or towards the beginning. I mean, towards the first quarter of the book.
Okay, here we go. I like how, like, to me, this the fact that they used this art style tells me that this took place a long time ago in the timeline of things Marvel.
The old like
this is like
70s.
Yeah, this is like what?
60s?
This looks like Silver Age comics, you know. And I did really enjoy the fact that, yeah, he was out here, he was out there fighting Thor. And yeah, then the Brood art, it was I loved how different all of the moments were in the telling of the backstories, and then how Meeks is just, my backstory is meeting you guys.
Yeah. Just everything that we've already seen. Great.
Yep.
Great.
Yep.
Good. And then you don't get a backstory until much later on Hiram?
Hiram is how I kept
Hiram?
saying it. But
okay. I think halfway through I kept changing how I said it. So I would say Hiram, I would say Hiram, I would just be like, Mr. H man.
Mr. H man.
So but yeah, and the showcase of Grey Hulk was fun. Because then they touch on that later on in the comic also with how Hulk feels in terms of like being alone. He's like, I could have died with them if you hadn't done that stupid bomb.
Yep.
So
yeah. Yeah, I there were a lot of fun moments in this, and I also enjoyed the fact that the Silver Surfer was in here.
Yeah. You'll definitely say after Silver Surfer leaves, and then the next cover art or something depicts multiple Avenger heroes. I was like, oh, cool. Are they going to come and help? And then, they were never touched upon. I go, well, that was the biggest tease of my life.
Yeah, but the Silver Surfer cameo was kind of cool and interesting, and it was not the
DCC for giant-sized Hulk.
It was short-lived, but it was he's a friend from work kind of moment in the comic, but instead of Thor, it was Silver Surfer.
Yeah, I will say though, totally bummed that you don't get comical Loki moments. Fine.
Yeah, but we'll have to try to find some Loki comics to read now that the Loki show is out in full swing.
Yeah. Does come out Wednesday?
Wednesday, yeah. I still haven't watched the first one yet.
I have.
It's hard to find time right now, man.
Yeah, but now I get to be like, ha ha ha. Now you're the one behind.
Yeah, I feel like I won't be behind very long. You'll fall behind. You always do.
People who can't see me, I'm sticking out my tongue. I could be sticking out my middle finger, but this is family worthy.
So, should we get into scoring? Are there any other things that you want to... I mean, we can talk about some of the stuff as we score it, too.
Yeah, I think you're fine. The only other art thing that I touched on in my notes was the smoke moment.
The smoke moment.
Where it transitions from the people of Sakaar into the Avengers.
Did you mark what page?
Yeah, I did. It is page 322.
Okay.
And it's like extremely clear images for Sakaar, and then it's a smoke fade into the silhouettes of the characters from Avengers into solid images that match the solid images of Sakaar.
Yeah. It's such a shame.
And it also changes from like the ash color into a solid color.
Mm-hmm.
Just based on like everybody dying and then solidifying anger yet again for the character to focus in on. The ending was so sad, and like I do think they also captured the ending really, really beautifully amongst everyone's point of views, not just Hulk. Like from
and this
the royal-blooded pinky person in the spaceship with Meek and her talking to her mom. And that character development of the mother's perspective going so quickly was actually though heartwarming and amazing, and how all of the characters in the 1 minute or like before the Big Bang on this planet of all of the species interacting really well. And it was just, and even like a no-name soldier character just breaking down because he lost his wife. Everything was done extremely beautifully.
Yeah. I thought the whole story with the spikes were really cool as well.
Spikes were cool. I
It,
didn't appreciate the little tentacle thingy out of the eye, but that's fine.
yeah. But just like how awful the Red King dude was, the Emperor, or whatever his name
Yeah.
was. Like, yeah, you're just an awful dude.
And then,
Just
like,
absolutely
also it was kind of
awful.
beautiful that when all of the spikes went back up into space and
Yes.
everything like that, and you just all the characters on Sakaar, all the people of Sakaar, like heard their loved ones who died,
Uh-huh.
and they got that really
That
beautiful closure, and then everything it went boom,
exactly.
and everybody died, and you're just like, oh my god.
Yeah. Uh, the ending. It's like you really. I mean, obviously, like things were going to change, but it's like the Hulk was getting a happy ending, and then it just got ripped away.
The minute though she said that she was pregnant, I was like, damn,
Yeah.
everything's gonna go bad.
Yep.
Flashbacks to my Injustice nightmare.
Yeah. So, story-wise,
You
um, yep. Um, for me, I enjoyed the story a lot. I do think it was a pretty decent like pickup point if you want to try something Hulk related. The only downside to it was there wasn't a lot of Banner, so there's not a whole lot that you could glean from like the relationship between him and Banner, other than getting like a little taste here and there with the Jarella thing, the moment, where all of the gamma energies kind of leached off of him, and that like intimate moment with the old strong woman. Um, there wasn't. I would have liked a little more of Banner
Mhm.
to peek out, but um, I guess also when you kind of look back at I probably shouldn't have expected it, considering like even though it was very loosely based off of this. I mean, it's not like Banner really knew anything that was going on Sakaar,
Right.
in Thor Ragnarok, so they did kind of keep that the same. Um, but
But
I'm really glad that I read it. I'm really sad that Thor Ragnarok wasn't just Planet Hulk. I would have loved to have seen the version of the movie where Banner exiled himself to this planet and was going through all of this as the Hulk and
I
coming
think that
back.
there should have been an in between. So
Ye-
like a movie prior to Ragnarok, because I deserved Ragnarok. We all deserved
Yeah, no,
Ragnarok.
Ragnarok
That was funny.
was awesome. Yeah, I agree. Um, I more mean like you could have put Thor and Hulk on literally any planet.
Yeah, and then just did this separate. I
Yeah,
will, yes.
I still want a freaking Hulk movie, like
With Mark Ruffalo.
with
I
Mark
love Mark
Ruffalo.
Ruffalo.
Yeah, um, but this was a really it was I enjoyed this story a lot. Um, with those exceptions, I think I give the story here um, an 8 out of 10 for me. How about you?
Okay. So I think I'm having a harder time scoring this one in particular because it's not a hero that I necessarily, well, I don't read. Um, and I didn't get to see moments that I feel like I would have enjoyed the most.
Hmm.
However, the storyline and the other characters helped push the story itself along in a beautiful and very deep and applicable way.
Hmm. I think that was something that helped with the story as well. The fact that, this is a character that neither of us have read a lot, but it's showing brand new relationships for the Hulk. So it makes a slight difference in the sense that, the
and the conflict in the story, even though dramatized to such an extent, is a very real conflict with prejudice and
oh yeah,
and all of these things, and the emotional toll that it took on each individual character and the emotional growth of each individual character, and then the later and the last few ones being so utopian and then just nothing. It was a beautiful, beautiful moment storyline wise. So I was between giving it a 7 and an 8, but I do think that I would recommend it to somebody who enjoys Hulk or wants to get into Hulk as a character.
Okay.
As Hulk, not as Banner.
Yeah. Again, that was one of the main things that brought the score down for me. Is I did want to see a little bit more Banner.
It is a good comic for anyone who is interested in sci-fi, who wants to get into mainstream comic reading.
Agreed.
Because it had a lot of sci-fi alien aspects to it.
100%.
I think I'm still going to give it a 7.
That's fine. Perfect. So tell me about the art then.
So the art, for the most part, I mean, the art was well done. It was everything you kind of want and expect comic book art to be. And you just switched it to my favorite panel to like butter me up.
No, I think it's a good end panel for our discussion.
And there were some really beautiful moments throughout. Like shorter lived, obviously, in terms of the art styles with the reminiscent scenes on each character's backstory. Emotion was done really well. I think I'm gonna give this also a 7.
Okay.
1.5.
Okay.
I'll give it an 8, because then I'll change my overall score to being the half. But anyway, I'll give the art an 8. It was well done. It didn't turn me off. A lot of people love modern art in comics. That's exactly what it was. Again, it was just nothing like, you didn't stop to stare at the artwork. Yeah, okay, so it's a 7. Are you hating me for how many times you're having to erase?
Little bit. Little bit. I had similar things that I agree with you for the most part. I disagree with the fact that you mentioned there weren't a lot of moments where you stopped and looked at the art. I felt like the moments that were like artistically like beautiful were peppered throughout enough to break up the I hate using the word monotony because it's not, I'm not trying to say that the art's bad. It's comic book art. Like it's what you expect comic book art to be. The difference for me is there were enough of those like really beautiful panels or really beautiful like pages that stuck out to me quite a bit. Because while I was reading, like I take my little notes and mark, pages and panels that are my favorite, and then I had a lot of pages and panels written down by the time I finished it. Because
I did not.
Because I thought there were, again, emotionally, there were some just really beautiful moments. And it was enough to make me stop every 20, 30 pages or so and be like, wow, look at this. like even just like the beginning, showing some of the brute force that is the Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
Like when he's fighting that like lava monster thing, or in that like
The
T-Rex.
lava monster's design was just cool. Same with the dragon dog thing. It
Yeah,
was a cool thing.
dragon dog
I
thing.
want a dragon dog.
This
Oh,
guy.
it's like a T-Rex dog,
Yeah, I was
not a.
like, it looks kind of like a T-Rex to me.
It does.
Look at
You're
those
right.
long teeth though.
I know that's terrifying, and then Hulk is just like pluck
Yep.
on the little controller, the zappity doodah disc.
The zappity doodah disc.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there were a lot of moments like that. Like this was one of the panels where it's like you see all of the lava hitting him, and like this is Hulk don't care.
Well,
Hulk
Hulk
don't
looks mad.
care at all. Yeah, I mean Hulk gets mad, but you know what I mean as far as Hulk don't care.
The pain.
Like it was there were a lot of moments like that where I was like, this is gorgeous. This is really, well done, or interesting, or showing exactly what I would want, what I'm looking for, essentially, in
Mm-hmm.
this. And freaking Gladiator Hulk just looks so badass.
With his like Winter Soldier-esque arm.
Yep. With his little armored arm.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I
So what did you score it?
I'm sticking with an 8.
Okay.
So I essentially giving it an 8 across the board into overall as well. Because it, again, one of the, obviously, like when I'm looking at comic book art, like I don't want the art to distract me from, the story, but I want it to highlight the story. I want it to punctuate the story. So it's like, am I ever disappointed when I read a comic and it's just, comic book art? No, because uh, there's a certain level of like expectation that you have. What I
Mm-hmm.
do expect is some like grand moments in the art to punctuate the story itself. And I feel like the punctuation in this book was well done and well spaced out, and didn't distract me, and didn't take away from the story or anything like that.
Okay. So I'm gonna give my scores, but I'm gonna highlight my scores again because I'm changing. You don't even know what I'm gonna say though, so don't huff and puff. And it's your comic, so okay.
Yeah.
So I'll give story an 8, art a 7 because story was above average, but art was average for me. So that means that my overall score can still be the 7.5 that I wanted it to be.
Okay. Overall is where it matters the most, anyways. So, but I changed it. I rewrote it. But yeah,
I look annoyed.
I'm just giving you a hard time. But yeah, I thought I enjoyed this one. I would pick another um
Hulk
Hulk
heavy
comic.
story.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I might want to choose that one where the Hulk and Banner are separated, because I don't know that I finished that story arc. I think I only read the first few issues. Um, because at the end of the day, I think I was wanting to spend my money on characters that I cared more about. So, um, but yeah, and the character, like I said, the new characters added in were really interesting characters, and all of
I
that.
would have loved to see what a what's her face and the old blood
Uh,
and a Hulk baby would look like.
right? The old strong, not the old blood.
Old strong, sorry.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Um, yeah, or just a Hulk baby in general. That would be a
But I
terrifying
mean, he's
child.
silver, so and he used to be gray. So what if their baby is just a gray Hulk
Yeah. Who
with
knows?
funky hair?
Who knows? Um, but yeah, I enjoyed this one. I thought it was a good start off point for Hulk peeps.
I did like it more than I thought I would.
Yeah.
For it being a Hulk comic. I'm very grateful that it was an articulate Hulk.
Yes. Absolutely. He talked a lot too.
He did.
I expected the Hulk to
Incoherently.
talk like Meek, most like similarly to Meek for most of
Yeah.
the book. I'm like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
like.
and then next week we're moving on to a different green monster.
We are moving on to a green monster. It's Green Monster Month. Well, we
Yeah.
go to a red monster the week after.
Whatever. But next week is Martian Manhunter, the Epiphany, which Ben thinks is a risky choice, but I like Martian Manhunter, and I have not had the opportunity to delve into new storylines for his character. I've read Revelations.
Okay.
While I was visiting you.
I've never read a standalone Martian Manhunter. To me, Martian Manhunter's kind of like in comics, kind of like Thor was in comics, where it's like, yeah, cool. Thor's a cool character, but uh,
What are you looking
his,
at right now?
what?
What are you looking at right now?
I went too far.
Oh, okay. It's like
Yeah, and this was another like really beautiful scene. Sorry. I like the little like butterfly dragonfly looking thingies and the flying manta ray and whatever. God, I don't even remember what I was saying. Oh,
you were saying
Thor.
that you've never read a standalone Martian Manhunter.
Right. So like anytime pre MCU that I tried reading a Thor comic, I was really like, okay, whatever. Like Thor was a lot more interesting in the context of the Avengers than he was as a character by himself. That's how I currently feel about Martian Manhunter. I'm definitely open to my mind being changed.
Yeah. I also picked this one because like I have an entire list now on the order of the Marvel or the DC ones that I want to pick. And so I have it strategically planned out to coincide with other characters in a certain like.
So there's not a Green Arrow fiasco again?
Shut up, Ben.
So next week is going to be Martian Manhunter: The Epiphany, which is available for free on DC Universe Infinite. So you can check it out there. That's where I'll be reading it.
Me too. Mostly because I mooch off of
you. Yep. So yeah, Anna, where can people find you on the internet?
I have 2 Instagram accounts, and that's pretty much it. One is a personal account for mostly Hank-related content of my corgi, and that is Anna_Riddick. And then I have an art account, which is A_Riddick _designs.
See, and this is the problem with the underscore.
Shut up, Ben.
You cannot remember where the underscore is.
I couldn't remember if I have an underscore because somebody told me that I'm not allowed to put my underscore in the Twitter one, and so my mind gets jumbled.
That's all it takes?
I have a lot of stuff going on up there, sir.
Mm-hmm. Okay. As always,
where can they find you if they want to?
As always, you can find me everywhere on the internet. It's Ben Pie. Twitter, Instagram. I also have my photography account, Ben Pie Photo. But really, if you're looking for anything, any of my content, you can go to itsbenpie.com/links. And that'll send you to everything, including the Discord channel where you can recommend comics for Anna and I to read, or just join the discussion there. If you are watching on YouTube, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are 34 subscribers away from being able to have a custom URL. So I don't have to use the Ubuntu 32578 as my URL. So please head over there, hit that subscribe button. And if you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment down below. Tell us, what were some of your favorite moments in Planet Hulk? I definitely do want to know. And be sure to hit that like button so more people can find us on YouTube.
And for anything this podcast related, we have the Facebook page, Sibling Rival-Read, and we have an Instagram account now, Sibling Rival-Read, as well as, the itsbenpie.com.
Yep. And again, going to itsbenpie.com/links will get you all of that. Yeah, there's all of the links, YouTube, the podcast services. I'll add Facebook on there so that we don't forget. And yeah, that's all I got.
So
until next week, Shalom-Aste. Oh, goodness.